Alright guys, welcome back to Upshift, episode 08, number 8. Hopefully you're all well, and in this episode we're going to be resting. On rest days we typically do not train, so you will not see training today. So our goal today is to take you through a little bit of an update on the last couple of weeks of prep, but also I've managed to stack my day a little bit in order to actually make it look like I do some more stuff than just check-ins on a rest day. So we're going to do a little bits and pieces throughout the day that I do now as part of my almost bit of more prep routine on a rest day. Typically in the off season it would be a very monotonous day of just sort of doing the same thing with work. So the last sort of week's been quite interesting for me. I got a little bit under the weather when we were training with David, and so it was like a little bit of a head cold that I had for like 2-3 days. So that definitely affected some of my check-ins, a little bit more fluid retention from taking some ibuprofen, taking some paracetamol, etc. So that was a little bit harder to manage, but at the same time, after that and after the fluid retention dropped off after those days, I came down pretty aggressively. So I actually came down to like 163 pounds, which is the lightest I've been so far this prep. And for anyone that wasn't following me in 2017, the lightest that I ever got, the lightest that I ever got was 146 pounds. So I'm still a really good chunk of body weight up on my last competition weight, which is good news. And I think the fact of the matter is I am the leanest that I have ever been, and that is evident through comparing the photos that I had in 2017 in very similar lighting. So now it's definitely a case of protecting the new muscle that I do possess, that I do have right now, and that's going to come through making sure that we don't accumulate too much fatigue within the diet aspect of doing things and also the training aspect. So we're monitoring volume, we're making sure volume isn't too excessive in our training sessions. We're making sure that when I get too flat, we're feeding up, which we actually did the other day. So it was Saturday and Sunday that we did 2 high days. The first high day was basically the way that I do high days. So I typically run high days with just more of my normal foods. I bring fats down to as low as I can really strategically get them. So basically on a day where I'm doing 600 grams of carbs, my fats will basically be trace, besides maybe a little bit of dark chocolate, like 20-30 grams of dark chocolate. So I think my fats ended up being about 40 grams, most of which from trace from proteins and carbohydrates. And then like I said, my carbs were 600. And my protein was at 250 on that day. Then the next day, woke up, weighed in, I was 0.8 pounds up. So a very, very small increase, especially considering I had 2 of those meals very late at night, because I kind of got my meal timing a bit skewed on that day. I checked in with Cuba at his house, so it kind of took up a good hour and a half of my morning where I should have been getting a meal in. And me and Cuba definitely decided off the back of both of these high days that I need to make sure that next time my nutrient timing is absolutely on point with the high days, otherwise I just won't digest the food well. So that brought us into the second day, so 0.8 up. We post workout after push. I was a little bit fuller. I definitely had more pop in the areas which go flat for me, which is my upper chest, my top line and my delts. Those areas just really drop off in terms of fullness. And it's so evident, and it ruins my front relaxed, it ruins my most muscular. I look like just rubbish, really, and it makes me lose poses to people that have very dominant chests and very dominant shoulders, because I just lack that pop, and also it takes away from my shape. So my narrow waist and my wide back and shoulders sort of lose that element of wow factor when I'm not full enough. So but obviously we did this as well to preserve performance. So the look was better after push and after that little weight increment, but we wanted to go up a bit more in terms of actually getting a bit watery, so we know where that spill point is for us. at the same time, this gives us some good data going into a peak week, so we know where the potential limit is, not in terms of just like carbohydrates, but also food options and things like this. So Cuba gave me the sort of the green light to have a burger, which is something that I've never had in a prep ever. It sounds like I'm making a big deal out of it, but I've prepped, you know, 3 times now, and I've never had something like that in a prep, because I feel like it's almost like wrong and not the right way to do things. But I totally understand the rationale. Obviously, the rationale being that you can only eat so much clean food in one sort of sitting, and it just gets to the point where the food volume is too high, and then you can't get the total amount of calories in. And the only issue with me, I definitely like that approach, and I can see the rationale, but I'd have to do it more frequently because my body's just not used to eating anything that's outside of my normal prep foods, my cream of rice, white rice, you know, fruits, things like that, because my body's so used to those, it can just digest them like that. But with something like a burger and fries, which is what I ended up having, and a little bit of sushi as well, it's just something that my body's not used to. So from a digestive purposes, it wasn't the best option, but from a getting calories in perspective and from a fullness perspective, it definitely really worked. Like, the fullness was pretty wicked in pool, and my performance was also through the roof. I progressed pretty much everything within that session with better accuracy, better pumps, everything. So it 100% did the job, but next time we'll probably just spread my meals out more across the course of the day and go higher total in carbohydrates. So yeah, that's sort of like what's happened, which is definitely a bit of a different thing, and probably a lot of people are shocked or surprised to hear that I had something like that on a prep diet, because most people will know that I'm not an advocate of that style of refeeding, but this is just me being an open book, and I've been an open book to Cuba throughout this whole prep in terms of his ideas and what he thinks is the right thing to do. And this is the first time, like in a long time, that I've had like a mentor or a coach like that. And obviously I'm still making the final decision and calling the shots, but to have Cuba there just to try these new things and help me learn I said to someone the other day, I was like, every other decision that Cuba has sort of said or suggested and we've come to an agreement on has worked, so I can't ignore that. So I was more than willing to give this a shot. But we're under 4 weeks out now, and I'm very much excited to sort of get to the nitty gritty of getting these last few pounds off my glutes and hamstrings. And it's going to definitely be difficult. It's going to definitely be hard. There's going to be some days which are pretty testing, but this is what I love about the sport. And those are the days in which you almost are in a little bit of discomfort, maybe a little bit of pain, and you've got to think, who else is doing this? You know, like, who else is willing to push as hard as I am? And I like to think that there's not too many people out there like that, and there's a lot of people that will go, I'm a bit tired today, gonna drop the weight on the bar. Bit tired today, gonna add an extra refeed. I haven't had a refeed in over 2 months, you know, since the last one up until this one, and I only use them as a tool. I only use them as needed, and I won't back down on anything in the gym. There's no chance. So I'm excited to share it as always, guys. We'll take you through the rest of this day of rest and let you know what I get up to. For now, let's enjoy this beautiful walk and enjoy whatever you're doing. Goodbye. I definitely prefer the natural lighting. This one almost makes you look just a weird colour, like a weird tinge, which doesn't do us any favours in terms of trying to sort of dissect the look at the moment. So I prefer if you go back to just standardised natural lighting, if that's cool. In terms of the look, mate, so here's the thing that's happening at the moment. So you're not gathering too much edema, so like fluid retention from dieting. You're not gathering too much of that, but you are so flat that you can't see the new detail that you're gaining. But you're not carrying too much diet fatigue to the point where you are seeing the water retention affect the scale weight. and you're also not carrying too much diet fatigue to the point where your training is going to shit. So, meal one, guys, same as always. I'll run through most of my meals today if we remember to do all of them, and nothing's changed. I don't think I have run through a rest day diet though yet, so I will take you through each meal and sort of explain as to why I'm having it at specific times as well, because there is a little bit of nutrient timing still existing on a rest day that we want to kind of take into account. So again, sort of basically just a protein feeding this meal. 250 grams of blueberries or raspberries, I sort of interchange those. Macros are very similar, there's a couple of grams of carb difference. Again, for satiety, the fruit will fill me up for longer. It's a higher volume food than using a pure carbohydrate or a carbohydrate based sort of meal one, like an oats or cream of rice or something like that. And it's obviously a fibrous carbohydrate source, so you will feel fuller for longer with that. And just again, the sludge, which is made with my almond milk with some fluid. It's not just whey powder, so make sure you do make it with some fluid. Just pour it on top, let it settle for a little bit, and you get some nice gooey goodness. So yeah, we'll eat this meal and crack on with a couple more check-ins before I go and get my hair cut, and then we'll start some more of the rest day routine. Alright guys, so we're back at Tony's barbershop in Barnsley for the haircut. As always, very true, very loyal to Tony. This is a half an hour drive for me, out of my day. So, but when I move house at the end of the year, this will be right around the corner, so not too close though, I'm not telling you where I live. Let's go and see Tony.
I want it. Same as usual really, maybe if you could start blending the back now.
Yeah, blend it in a bit,
because,
yeah.
I think we'll keep this length down the side.
So blend the back in.
Take a little bit of length off this so it can run around a little bit more,
yeah.
And then just blend the back. If we can properly blend that, then that will make it look a lot better.
Take a nice mould and get it back.
Yeah, and do the same that you did on the sides as last time. Come to the conclusion that this is the best whey isolate for yogurt. Did like the cinnamon Danish one, but that's a concentrate, so I've managed to take like 3 grams of fat out of this meal, which means I get to have a little bit more dark chocolate. The chocolate coconut in yogurt is the one. I think in cream of rice, the raspberry white chocolate is the best so far. And that goes well with any of the cream of rice flavours. So yeah, for those that maybe will ask, you do actually mix the whey into the yogurt. You don't just leave it as a powder on the top. I guarantee there'll be someone that will DM me saying, I tried whey with yogurt, it was a bit dry. And they'll probably sprinkle it on top. I'm sorry to any of those that really don't understand bodybuilding meals and are feeling offended right now. So, everyone knows that I love my dark chocolate, of course. It's come directly from the fridge. Meg bought me these the other day. They're very, very good. I saved them for pre-workout at the moment. 100% dark chocolate, so if you like 90%, it is a step up in the bitter scale. It does taste pretty bitter, but if you are a fan of dark chocolate, I highly recommend giving these a shot. They're actually batons, so if you like dark chocolate and you like batons, you'll love these. So Meg's very generous, very thoughtful, and purchased me dark chocolate. So thank you, Meg. Fueling my my pre-workout dark choc. Today we're actually going with the Lindt. So So 20 grams of this meal. Okay guys, meal 2. At the desk, we're just about to actually start a client call of mine. So basically what I'm doing at the moment with my service is I've increased my costs, increased my prices. So for a long time, I've been at the same price. I've been taking on more clients, obviously when spaces open up. And now I've raised my prices, I've included a little bit more in my service, and not only have we got the workout library with me and Coob and Meg and Loz, we've also now got to a point where I want to initiate the process of coaching with even more value. So I open up the door, not everyone takes it because not everyone needs it. I open up the door to basically hopping on a Zoom call with me the week before someone starts and someone is onboarded with coaching. And this call doesn't have to have any structure because I get everything I need through basically like a 12-page application document that they send across to me at the start of coaching, inclusive of some initial form clips, a video of their gym, so I know exactly what kit is in there, so I don't program anything that's not in there and then we have problems at the start. And then we hop on the call and we literally just have a chat. So I'm going to have a chat with this guy called George today, who is going to be starting on the 28th, which will be in a week's time. So we'll have it sort of like 5-6 days before we actually get going, and then he'll also get a private video which is filmed by me, sent across to him at the start of coaching, which will be like a 20-25 minute video walking him through all of his initial plans. So he doesn't just get sent a document, he gets sent a video where everything is explained, why it's set up in that way for him, and how we're going to move forwards towards his goals. So everything's sort of broken down into a step-by-step process, and because I'm increasing prices, not only does that allow me to work with sort of a slightly more select number of people that are really going to put in the effort, because obviously the cost is much higher per month, that they're going to have to think more about it and therefore give probably more effort, to be fair. It allows me to in the future bring down my overall numbers, work with less total people, still obviously, you know, make a good living from it, which is obviously important for me. I'd be lying if I said money wasn't a motivator for me. I am motivated by the financial gain that I can create through business, but at the same time I want to work with people that are just super on it and very dedicated. So I'm looking forward to the chat with George. Funny story, I think, well, when he gets started, because he's already getting started, he will be, I think, my 4th George on my current roster. I have 3 other Georges, so it's a popular name. Anyway, regardless, this meal itself, 250 grams of 0% Greek yogurt, 250 grams total fruit, but it's split between raspberries and blueberries. I like a bit of a hybrid with this meal. And then 20 grams of dark chocolate, 90%, and a caffeinated beverage. Today, the Melon Mania. Again, it's my favourite flavour. I'm in a bit of a good run with the melon. Me and the melon seem to be getting on well. So I've just kept the melon in my life. You know, people that, you know, respect me, give me a good feeling when I'm with them, I just keep in my life. And the melon is something that I definitely would like to hang around for a lot longer. So you know, hopefully I've got a few cans left, but again, if anyone does work for Rain, please be sure to get in touch. And also, by this point in the video, your retinas are probably screaming at you. You know, you've been looking at the computer screen for a while, and they're suffering. You know, they're red, they're sore, and you need some protection. Good job. Me too. So these are my daylight blocking blue light glasses from Rara Optics. You can get a discount off these. The link is in my bio. I have discussed the nighttime ones before, but never the daytime. So as you can see, you don't just block blue light, but you know, look professional in the process. So I'm going to put these on. I'm going to enjoy my light being blocked, my blue light being blocked, and my retinas being safe and sound. So you can too.
But I think the main thing is letting you take over that, so I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think one of the big things with like the deload and the neurological fatigue is you just need to be as clear cut as you can and as honest as you can with me, because a lot of people in their feedback, so obviously in your weekly check-in, they'll hide or they'll be they'll be very stubborn, and that doesn't do us any good, because you'll end up having a week where you were stubborn and you actually came out of the week in a trashed position, and it's counterproductive. So for us, definitely honesty would be super, super key. Alright guys, so we are at meal 3. This is my first carbohydrate meal of the day. Of course we've had berries, we've had some fruit, but no real sort of direct carbohydrate sources. So as you can see in the bottom layer, we've got roughly about 100 grams raw weight of rice. I did used to have 200 grams raw weight split across 2 meals on training days and rest days. But the 25 carb adjustment that I made was pulled from these meals, so I just pulled down my rice by 35 grams, and that equates to 25 carbs. So yeah, rice at the bottom, and then we got about 200 grams of green beans and 120 grams of smoked salmon. So on rest days, I do tend to have a little bit more veg, just because the food volume won't affect my stomach so much, because I'm not training, and also for satiety, so for feelings of fullness. And I also have some form of fattier cut of beef or fish, just again for essential fatty acids, which I don't actually have higher fats on a rest day, but I have lower carbohydrates, so I have less trace fats, so I have a little bit more room for something like salmon or beef or something like that. But for the whole of prep, I've had smoked salmon, so I enjoy this meal. It's one of my favourites, to be honest. I love smoked salmon. Bagel would be nice, bit of cream cheese, but save that for the off season. The off season I do get pretty, not flexible, but like I increase the variety a little bit more. So a full day of eating in the off season is probably going to be a little bit more enjoyable for you guys to watch than prep, because all the meals, pretty much training day and rest day on prep, are very, very similar, and they serve a very similar purpose. So gonna enjoy this. I've got one more check-in to do, and then we'll be off for a massage at the gym, and also boxing off some of the things that I have to do there, posing and steps, and we'll walk you through that as the day goes on. Alright guys, so we're just at the gym now, and I'm here to see Callum at Regen Physio. So Callum does my massage on some of my rest days when I feel like I can handle it. He goes light because I can't handle a heavy massage at this stage. It just basically makes me feel like I'm trained. So it's very important that if you are having massages, you're very clear cut with your therapist as to what you actually need. A lot of people will just go in, book a physio appointment or book a massage. They'll not really tell them what they need or what they want, and they'll come out feeling battered, and the next day the training suffers. So today, all I literally want is a little bit of work done on my traps and my neck, so I can feel they're very, very tight from pull yesterday, and a little bit on my lats, so that I can keep opening up one of my front lat spread, rear lat spread, etc. So we'll get a little bit of footage of that, and perhaps introduce you to Callum. But if you are at Ultraflex Rotherham, please pop down, book in. They're on Instagram at Regen Physio. Check them out.
So Whitlark's are AJ and obviously Kuba, they're on prep at the moment. So the bodies are highly stressed already. So you only get one rest day off in a row, don't you? You never get 2 back to back.
Yeah, that's correct.
So at the moment, he's going to be training again tomorrow. So what I want to make sure is that he doesn't leave here feeling absolutely battered. And that he's not going to feel any of that fatigue tomorrow in his session. So it's a case of asking him what he wants more or less, and he'll tell us. So nothing too heavy, and make sure that they leave here feeling nice and refreshed and ready to perform tomorrow in what's an important period.
Okay guys, so next task, 5 rounds of posing. I've put this on my story just like I do my steps, because I feel like it adds an element to people following the process and knowing how routine you have to be in a prep. So my rest day routine never changes, it's always very, very similar. Well, I say it's very similar, it's exactly the same every single time. So we're in the posing room here at Ultraflex. Lighting's a little bit harsh, so we'll get a few candid shots. And I normally just go through 5 rounds, and sometimes practice my routine, at night, depends how I feel. Today I'm feeling pretty tired, to be fair, so I will probably just go through my 5 rounds. I do tend to hold poses as well, because on stage you've got to think about how long the judge is going to hold you in a specific pose. The quarter turns, they're going to hold you there most likely for longer than they will the mandatories. So you almost need to practice a little bit more going through those transitions, making sure that you turn really fluently and you're not just turning from your front pose and just casually walking around to your side pose. We're making them fluid, we're building transitions so that everything flows super well on stage. So that's what I'm going to do now, and then we'll get after some steps. Alright guys, so we're back from the gym. Short trip, didn't have many steps to do because we've been sort of out and about during the day. Actually someone raised a question on my Instagram the other day about how put in my expenditure and put my steps and then said no cardio, and they were like, but you're doing steps, so surely that's cardio. So if steps were cardio, then I would have done basically cardio just all throughout my daily activities, if that's what we count it as, because what my steps are a lot of the time are just like my natural day-to-day activities. So cleaning the house, walking Barney, walking to get a haircut, walking to the, you know, inside the gym. None of it's cardio, so it's not like actively trying to raise my heart rate. It is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's stuff, it's activity outside of the training window, outside of a cardio bout. So still no cardio, funnily enough. So this is my next meal. Basically just the same as the salmon meal, just with chicken, so 150 grams of raw chicken. And then this, because a lot of people will probably ask, why is your water a different colour? So this is just apple and lime glutamine from bulk powders. I do use the JP glutamine, but I have run out at the moment, and this is the one that I have in the house. Must admit, it does taste pretty nice as well. So that is that, and I'm just going to crack on with a couple more check-ins. I think I've got 2 more this evening. This is quite a busy day for me on a Tuesday, and I can get ahead of a little bit of tomorrow's work as well, because it's a rest day. Grab a shower, and then we will do some meal prep for tomorrow, because I always prep my meals in the evening, so we'll talk you through that and talk you through my last meal. So, we're at the last meal. We have also prepped all of the meals for tomorrow. So, tend to sort of box this off. I think I discussed this in one of our other videos. Box this off in the evening just to save me a lot of time tomorrow, create more time efficiency, and also just gives me something, another sort of task to do. Usually I'm done with work by, on a rest day, it can vary a lot, to be fair, anywhere between 4 and 7 p.m. Today was a little bit later, but it just gives me like another little bit of things to do, things to keep me occupied and take away the thought of like hunger or anything like that. And I just don't like sitting still and doing nothing, so I'd rather do a bit of programming or have a change of pace and do some meal prep. I'm also going to change from my daylight blue light blockers, because it's no longer day, it is now night. So I'm going to stop being sarcastic about these, because they do actually sponsor me, and if they watch this, then probably get fucking dropped. Sorry, no swear words. Okay, so this last meal itself, talk through it. So there's a lot more food volume in my cream of rice at the moment. Reason being is definitely the last couple of weeks, but for me, the last few days, hunger has been a lot higher, a lot more significant. Nothing that I can't handle, and I actually like being hungry because it means that the diet's working, it means that it's paying off, it means that I'm getting leaner, it means I'm in a deficit. So I enjoy the feeling of hunger in a diet. I enjoy that suffering feeling. It's not true suffering, but it's like a feeling of I'm working hard. the reason why the food volume is higher is for satiety and just to keep me full. Another reason why I may be experiencing slightly higher hunger at this present moment in time, is just because I did just come off the back of 2 high days. So those high days will have an upshift in some hunger hormones, and did you get that? And leptin and ghrelin, namely, will be the ones having some shift, and that's a good thing, because that allows us to create some degree of metabolic upregulation, which will mean that we're in a position to potentially move forwards with fat loss a little bit easier. We are almost stimulating some of those hormones, like waking those guys up a little bit. So that's why we do refeeds alongside with the performance benefits, the aesthetic benefits in terms of understanding that you look a little bit more when you're a bit fuller. The refeeds are there to stimulate hunger hormones, stimulate metabolism, and keep us moving forwards. It's like a diet break when I've used the analogy of a car in a long distance journey. It's like a plane, long distance. You don't fly from one side of the world to the other without a stop off, without a layover. So, or at least not yet. Upon recording, you may be able to when this is watched in the future. Don't know why I did that. So yeah, you need to take breaks, and you need to sort of refill the tank, so to speak. So that's what I've done. But now that the tank is full, my body expects that food to be coming in again. It's like, where's my sushi? Where's my 600 grams of carbs? Why am I only having 300? The body's like, confused. So I'm now experiencing hunger, which is cool. I think it's important to be honest, because I, throughout all the other videos, have said how easy it's been. And don't get me wrong, like, I can still push harder, and I can still definitely do this. It's just definitely a little harder, especially with the balance of work and everything else I've got going on in my life. Obviously the clothing brand launching, things like that. I've been juggling a few more things recently, which I absolutely love, but at the same time it does make you more tired, and when you're more tired, you are also more hungry. So anyway, probably should stop talking about just dieting and actually eat the meal, and then I might not be so hungry. So thanks very much for watching. As always, this has been Upshift 08, episode 8, and I'm looking forward to the next few weeks sharing content with you guys as we get closer to the show. And today we got another announcement from Boris about the fact that there's some further lockdown rules, but none of which I think should be affecting the show, and it's all go. I'll keep you guys updated as always on Instagram. Please do like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate you following along with the content, and we will chat very, very soon. Peace out, guys.